going on, guys? Today got a new set from Amazon. We're gonna rebuild the tailgate on my 03 Silverado. This kit fits 99 to 06 Sierras and Silverados and maybe some other stuff, but this has latches, hinges, cables, everything. This one, you can see, got a fair amount of slop in it. I don't know what the part is at fault, so that's why I got the whole kit. So let's go open that up and take a look. All right, you can see here we've got new cables, bolts, both latches left and right, both pieces of the hinges left and right, handle and bezel. I've already replaced this on my truck, but there's a high probability that's gonna break when we take it off. Not sure what the issue is with mine. It could be something as simple as these plastic clips that hold the rods not engaging all the way or worn out. So that's why I went ahead and just got everything. The hinges, or the latches, I mean, have the new clips on them, everything. The only thing we're reusing on the truck are the rods itself. So let's go look at taking that thing apart. So you can see here on mine, everything's a little crusty. The cable's pretty worn out. Up here, you can see the latch post is pretty eat up. So, oh, the hinge is bent as well. That could be the majority of my problem. Other side, not as bad. Cables kind of eat up. The hinge is bent as well. So we're just gonna do everything. These tail lights are in the Amazon store as well. They are pretty nice. I like those. So we start, remove these 3 bolts. Next up, we're gonna do the post, and I'm gonna go ahead and take the tail light off. This side, whatever is on the inside fell down, didn't catch it, so I'm gonna see what it looks like so I know what I'm looking for, but it wouldn't hurt to take the tail light off, just be real delicate with 2 screws because they're easy to lose and easy to strip. For the bolts, for the strap, I don't really care for this setup. I'm gonna reuse the factory ones. These are slotted. This has some kind of lock washer that's locked on, and yeah, it doesn't really fit the bill. So I'm gonna put the factory one of those back on. It does work with the new cable. Works very well with the new cable, so we're just gonna do that. I don't trust that new one. Hardware is cheap at 10 rounded off. Yeah, it's tight, but good luck getting it off again. Also, kind of a product review here. This Milwaukee is not all it lived up to be. These things are pretty expensive. Prices are all over the place. I have a link to it in the Amazon store. It has amazing reviews. It won all the online battles between other brands, but I prefer my Makita stuff. But the Makita one of these was about 8 inches longer and had one of these massive batteries, and it just didn't And it was about $100 more too, but you know, you get what you pay for. But this doesn't have enough torque to do a lot of stuff, so it is what it is. If you're looking for them, I've got a link in the Amazon store, about the cheapest price you can find. And yeah, move on. You can see this latch was pretty hammered and worn. We'll move on to the other side. Here we have another manufacturing flaw. This is made opposite of the way it needs to go. It'll work, but goodness. This only goes one way down here. You can see it's angled. And those don't want to spin very well. It has a rubber grommet that faces inward against the latch. And yeah, we're short of leaving the bolt loose. It's the only way to make them spin. So let's see how it shuts. All right, so it will not shut. Since this will not spin, I've already boogered this one up. Guess we're going to have to put the factory ones back on. Great, I gotta take those bolts off again. This side's shut, but we're not getting any movement out of this. So it's just balling up, and yeah, I was really looking forward to replacing those since mine are splintered and worn. All right guys, got it all back together. Put the stock splintered cables back on. They're still not moving great, but new latches, all these new latches have this little rubber bumper. And the first time I shut it, they kind of self-clearanced. So I imagine that's all we needed to stop the rattle. But the hinges are in, working well. I haven't had any complaints about those. They went on, fit like they're supposed to. I've got no side-to-side movement. So, nice and solid. I will say the bezel that came with this fit a lot better. The other one didn't seat right, it rattled. Had to put tape behind it, so I did go ahead and swap that out, but the whole handle, everything works nicely. Oh, what a pain in the butt. I know this truck's been hit in the rear at some point in its life. It's been repainted, so it could be part of my fitment issues. You can see it's a tighter gap on this side. They did a really bad job of repainting it. But yeah, so let's review this fiasco. So there at the end, I resorted back to Makita with a 3/8 adapter on it. And boy howdy, it worked a lot better than this. I'm very disappointed with this. For what these cost, it really, I don't know. I tried to tighten up header bolts on my truck the other day, and I mean, there's just no torque to it. And yeah, I even have 4-amp battery, not the little 2-amp or 3-amp that they try to sell you. So highly don't recommend this. I don't know if the Makita one's any better. The Makita one is a 14 volt or a 12 volt, and I didn't want to change. I use 18 volt on everything, and they do make an 18 volt one, but it's around 300 bucks, and it's about that long. But that may be, we use them at work, so I know they work. Maybe the way to go. But I don't recommend this Milwaukee stuff. I'm kind of mad at a couple YouTubers who swear up and down by them that they're amazing. I guess they've never had real tools. All right, so here's what I'm left with. The original replacement bezel that I got on Amazon by itself. It was around $6. Rattle didn't fit right. See, made in Taiwan. The new tailgate straps, one of which is already damaged because they're made backwards. So this is made to slide inside the tailgate and clip on, and this needs to face the other direction to attach to the actual tailgate itself. Both of them are made backwards, so both are useless. My original handle, which was pretty rusty, the clips were intact, but nothing really wrong with it. Did work. We'll hang on to that for spares. One of those is pretty boogered up. The other one's not so bad. We'll hang on to those. The hinges, the bedside's a little rusty. Paint's chipping, but not terrible. But the tailgate side, bent, very bent. This was widened out. That's the part that's supposed to be real narrow, so you have to tilt the tailgate at a certain angle to pop it out. Those were pretty bad. And my latches were pretty worn out. This one stayed intact. The other one, the clip did break. The latches that came with the kit were good, except those were on the wrong side. But use that little socket to pop them through. So no harm, no foul there. The biggest disappointment, this doesn't even remotely look like the factory stuff. There's not a spacer on it. This piece, different size, cheap garbage. This one isn't even, I guess that's just glued on there, that spacer. It's not even centered. And you can see the one I had such issue with. Tried to make it a flathead, and it just cheap, unhardened garbage. But luckily, I had to go 3 sizes of vice grips to get that off, and was able to save it. Just reuse all your factory hardware. As far as the kit goes, I highly don't recommend it. Get the piece you need. The hinges were the only thing that I have no issue with. We'll see how they wear over time. The latches, okay, I think they can be had for about $18 or something. The whole kit was around $66 shipped. Not terrible. The handle mechanism was good. The bezel was real good. Like I said, the latches worked. The hinges were really good. Hardware is garbage. These were garbage. So I don't know. I'll have to go try to find some better ones of these. Unfortunately, buying it all as one kit, I can't just return the pieces that were wrong. So I'm kind of stuck with all this junk. But at least tailgate's back on. Doesn't rattle. Going up to my land and doing back roads and off-road stuff, that's getting really annoying. The tailgate was just bouncing around. I'm sure that moving so much is wearing out the hinges in itself, not just the opening and closing. But we're done. Nice. This is my camper special. But that's it for this video, guys. I appreciate you watching. The real car content hadn't been around in a while, but yeah. Hope to get up to the land here in the next few weeks and do some more stuff and get the camper out. I already broke the spare tire mount off of it, back roads. But the truck's running good. I did here recently have to replace the oil pressure sensor in the back side of the block on the top. Wasn't too bad. I think it was like $57 for the sensor, which is ridiculous. It's a little dinky thing, but got that swapped out. Oil gauge started working again. Scared me. I was coming home from work and oil pressure was up at 80, and I was like, oh shoot. But luckily nothing was wrong with it. And I think maybe that was part of my leak, because that oil pressure sensor had oil in the connector and everywhere. So got the new one in, tightened it up, and we'll see. But I'm gonna leave you with that. Don't like Milwaukee stuff. I like my Makita stuff. See you on the next one.